What's up, guys? Long time no tutorial. For my somewhat triumphant return, I figured that I would kind of do something like I did back in the day when I started, and I'm going to be mastering um, very quickly a track from scratch. So yeah, this is an updated kind of version of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start. I'm going to play a bit of the track, and we're going to master it, which is when I say master, I mean put a bunch of plugins on the master channel to make it sound cool. So here we go. All right, so you got that. So first things first is we want to add a limiter on the master channel. Um, and I'm going to be using the FabFilter Pro L. The reason why you want to add a limiter is because you don't want things going over 0. You can in Ableton, but I'm doing a video and it will make the video cry. And I'm going to set my ceiling, my output. I can set that to, -1 dB, right? But by default in Ableton, I already have that set to -1. So I would suggest that you have your ceiling out to -1 dB. Just to give you a little bit of headroom in case you have inner sample peaks. So we have a limiter on there. Let's loop that. That limiter is going to be the last in the chain for now. So yeah, let's start out with EQing. So there's two choices, in my opinion, for a mastering style EQ. And the two choices currently these days, they change a lot, is Pro Q by FabFilter and Equilibrium by DMG Audio. These are two kind of similar friends here. They both are, I guess, kind of the gold standard of mastering. So we're going to be using those. You can use either one, but yeah, it's mostly about grabbing stuff and repairing things. So first thing I want to do is I want to double click here, and I want to add a high pass filter and do a roll off. So I will go 24 dB per octave right there, and I want to move that up to 30 hertz, around 30, and that's a gentle roll off. And yeah, I can kind of bump up the Q a little bit. So there we go. I'm going to turn the analyzer on, and I can see that that is all well and good. I can do the same thing with ProQ, but yeah, I'll just stop mentioning that. I'm going to go to GUI and then set up large so we can see what we're doing. So there you go. So let's have our high pass filter and let's kind of listen and grab things gently and see where we can even out the frequency that we're looking at. Right, you might want to go to the body of the track, which is right here. Right, so double click here. I can right click, find some problem areas. Sounds a little boxy there. So I'll do that. And I'll use my mouse wheel to make the Q smaller. Kind of move around there. And I'm just looking at the spectrum here. Right. I want it to be smooth. What I do there. Bring that down. There's a problem area right here. Not really a problem area, but I just want to kind of tame everything, make it, because it's supposed to kind of be like, and then down. And that is how you'll see most tracks go about it. You just want to smooth it out. But that's part of the meat of the bass, the upper mids. And I will add this there. So the general rule is for the low end, you want a very narrow cue. And for the mid-high, you want a kind of a wider cue. Right, so I'll turn that on and off, and you can listen to what I kind of did. Right, there's kind of, because of the 303 sound. It's kind of boxy, and that's kind of part of distortion. So like when you have, say, in traditional recording, you have an electric guitar and it's coming through an amp, you'll hear the box of the amp. You'll hear the actual kind of like the inside of an acoustic guitar. You'll hear that it has a resonant kind of thing going on. So this is kind of the same idea. If it sounds boxy, you don't necessarily want that, because then that kind of builds up and doesn't sound too pleasant. So if you listen closely. It's amazing what, 2 dBs of gain reduction will do. And that's just, I guess that's my minuscule experience that told me to do that, and that really kind of brings it together like a warm hug. So we have that, and that's basically what the EQ will look like. That is the way to kind of get the track ready for multiband dynamic reduction and all that. It's just kind of, because you confuse like dynamics with like frequency. So, it's kind of hard to explain, but it comes with experience, and you gotta like trust your ears and plan ahead. It's like I got rid of that boxiness, so that doesn't kind of, it's not something that I have to wrestle with later on with a multiband compressor or a compressor in general, or the maximizer. Everything's very cohesive, and that's the first step. And yeah, the biggest cut I made was at 200 hertz, 6 dB, and this is just something that I always do. I always remove a little notch in the low end, and that really brings out it kind of pulls the mix together, because that's kind of where the crossover is in clubs. That's where the subwoofer and all that stuff separates. So that doesn't, like, there's a part in here that doesn't really exist in clubs at the end of the day anyway. So you might as well take it out. It gives you more headroom. And yeah, it's quite fun. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna be back with another video after this, the second step. So yeah, hope you learned stuff. Take care and have a good one. Hey, what's up, guys? This is video number 2. In our last video, we balanced the frequency of the track like this. We rebalanced the frequency with an EQ. And in this video, we're going to be using another EQ to balance the stereo image. So it's kind of like putting the track in a 3D space. So the first one, we balanced everything, like frequency left, right, mid, side, together, just to get a balance and to kind of repair things, that could cause problems down the road, or it could sound weird on loud systems. In this video, this section, we're going to be kind of doing some stereo processing using ProQ. So we're going to be going to channel mode here. And we're going to go mid side. So how this works is typically when you reduce, okay, I'll just give you an example. Right. So we have them linked right here, mid and side. The mid is the sum of left and right, the sum of both signals, and it is like mono. So like both signals going together, that's mono. The side is the difference between left and right. And what the difference between left and right is what makes a stereo track sound stereo. We have left and right, kind of puts things in the space, and this is a good way to kind of make a track perceivably louder, but there can be issues. For example, if there's two conflicting frequencies in the left and right and the low end, or even the high end, the stereo image will get skewed or they'll cancel each other out and you'll get comb filtering. Not good. So the first thing we're going to do is I guess I'll demonstrate what side is. So we have our mid here, which is this. Right, same frequency. We have our side. Right? So you'll notice there's not a lot of side material, right? So that could be either good or bad. You also notice that there's a lot of side material on the higher end as opposed to the low end. That's also good. You want the low end to be as mono as possible. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a low cut here. And kind of gently. I want that really gentle. So 6 dB. So we'll cut all the stereo stuff. We'll go a little bit aggressive. All the stereo down here where the bass is. You see the bass up here. That is no longer. There's no chance of being stereo, which is good. So what we're gonna do now is go to side and kind of boost. What's going on here? Right, you can really hear the stereo here. Typically tracks are really, really wide, so let's do that. You can also do kind of stereo tricks like the Has effect. There's tutorials on that. But let's just figure that out right here. We'll go on and off, and it's subtle, but you can really hear it. Really makes the reverb loud. Brings the reverb out. And this is one of the things that you can go back in the chain and change it. Might seem like a weird step that doesn't really do much, but it is important. This may have not been the best example, because I mixed it to have a lot of mono compatibility, and it's a techno track, so it's very mono, seeing as how the kick is mono and the bass is like a single kind of 303, and it's really driving. But you have other elements that kind of wind it out. It's supposed to be one of those driving kind of face down tracks. Anyway, that is stereo processing. Yeah, hope you learn stuff. Take care and have a good one. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. This is video number 3, and this is the part where we compress or we control the dynamics of the track. This is a very kind of finicky process, and it's easy to overdo, and in a lot of ways, less is more. So we're going to start out with a compressor here. Put that right there. And this is the Pro C. This is a single band compressor, and it's pretty good. So let's go. We'll bring the threshold up, and the ratio will have that kind of gentle like. So let's take a listen. And what I want to do is, let's listen to it together. What I want to do is I want to kind of, I don't want to use the term glue, but that's pretty much what I want to do. I want to take the kick and have that as the focus and bring everything else around it, so everything's kind of the same-ish. No, everything is moving towards the same volume of the kick, and kind of jumping around with the dynamics. Let's give a listen to the main part here. All right, so you can see the volume coming up here. We can bring the threshold down and just listen to what it does. Right, pretty heavily. I'll turn off the gain here. Right, so I want a fast attack to kind of control the transients, because the transients is what will trigger things later down the road, and I want that to be kind of controlled. Right, so we have that, and we'll bring the ratio up. So what I tend to do is have the compressor to where it bites. This is just how I go about it. I have the threshold to where it will bite. Right, and it's biting, and it's quite a bit, negative 5.7 gain reduction. And then I'll bring the ratio back. I'll pull it back. Yeah, and I forgot to put the styling on mastering, or the style. Bring the ratio back up. You know what? It's doing something weird. And what is happening is the lower end is triggering the threshold. So I want to add a sidechain signal. Right, I want that, the click of the kick, to trigger the gain reduction. Right, you can see that there. It's a lot more clean. I can turn it on and off. Listen to this. Right, you can see the gain reduction. Not too great. Here, I'll get a lot a bit bigger. Right. We'll set it to 18. Don't be afraid to zoom in. You see that, and it's kind of being triggered twice. You can see it there. I'll get rid of the knee. Right, but when you have the sidechain on, so where the high pass, the signal before it goes into the detection circuit, it's being high passed, so just the click of the kick is going through. Right, you can see that very smooth release. Right, so now not so much. So you got to find it. Right, I have the release set. And let's go. We'll go look ahead. We'll have that on. Look ahead. Half a millisecond. Why not? And we'll turn that on and off and listen to our handiwork. Right. What that's doing is that's kind of taming the kick, so we can do further things to it. So this would be like a single band compressor, and this is the first stage of compression, and it should be a little bit more gentle, actually. We'll bring the ratio down. The gain reduction's dancing, and it's fully released before the kick comes, and that is kind of a safe, pleasing sounding compression, and that's yeah, it's doing some fun stuff. Anyway, yeah, hope you learn stuff. We'll be back with Multiband. Stick around. Hey, what's up, guys? This is video number 4 for those of us keeping track. In our last video, we did something called single band compression. Very fun, very effective in taming dynamics and giving us better, more cohesive sound, gluing the mix together, as they say. And Pro C is fantastic at doing that. So I'm going to close that. And what's happening next in our chain? What's happening next? That is multiband compression. And this is basically a series of compressors. And what that does is that kind of tames problem frequencies in terms of their dynamics, not their frequency content. And it's, you know, an effective way to make, say, a bass line more rolling, or kind of a kick that's, you know, kind of ticking through the mix a little too much. And yeah, let's hop to that. In general, this will happen, you know, after. Well, you can kind of put this anywhere in the mastering chain, but I do it right about where, you know, I'm done my mastering process. So what I'll do is I'll add one to, I'll just play it. All right, and we have a pretty balanced track there. So I'll just go bloop. And what that does, that adds a band. So you have band 1 and band 2. Well, just band 1, and it's, you know, it has a crossover here. This is where they kind of cross over. I'll add another one so we can kind of listen to what's going on here. So the most effective way to increase headroom and kind of clean up the, no, not increase headroom, but to clean up the dynamics is to clean up the low end, because a bass shouldn't be constant sound. It should just be present and then kind of disappear. And you do that with, you know, if you do that post, then it's kind of done in with the multiband compressor, and it'll be triggered by the kick and the bass. And yeah, well, it depends on the material, but anyway, let's get to it. Right, so we have our bass here. Right. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's just a lot of shit going on at once. It's like pretty intense. All right, and we have our threshold here. So we're going to bring down our, yeah. So think of this as like the last kind. It's just a different kind of detection, self-enclosed, just like a bunch of compressors split up into different bands, pressed, and then the audio coming back together. Right, so I will go the range, I'll bring the range down. Right, you see that? That's the gain reduction, and that's good. We want that, but we want the release to kind of go along with the music. Right, so you want a bit, you want the attack, you want the compressor to, you want a delay before the compressor hits, because you still want that bass to come through. You want to come through for a little bit, and then bam, it'll be reduced, so you get more dynamics and stuff. So I guess I want that for the bass because the kick is lower than the bass. It's a different kind of material here. It's a sub bass. So I want another one here. This is this guy right here. I want you, this guy right. All right, this one's a little bit faster, which is good. Man, this is really finicky. So I'm gonna do something a little different here. I'm gonna expand, so I'm gonna go upward expansion. Bring this guy down here. This is kind of finicky, but we'll get through it together. Right, so it's kind of, this is a little bit more advanced, and currently I don't have the vocabulary to explain this, kind of like off the cuff or whatever. But what's happening is instead of the sound going down, it's going up. Hence the term expand. Well, it's upwards compression. So what we're doing is every time there's a transient that's detected, the signal will boost up instead of being shot down. And this is a kind of a differenter way of accentuating those transients. We'll just listen and we'll A/B it. Hear that? It's a lot more like a lot more. Pretty difficult to hear. I might have to. I'll exaggerate it. Right? It's pretty strong exaggeration. I still want the dynamics to be kind of squished. I'll increase the release. That's starting to sound pretty good. It looks extreme, but it's not that extreme. We'll do the high end. The high end should be a bit more gentle, obviously. Want a bit of a pump in there, so. So we've taken the majority of the dynamics of the track separately, the kind of chaos, and we've made it even more cohesive. Listen to that kick. That kick is kind of, it's brought down a little bit. It's a little bit more under control. This is where the kick lives. Looks pretty intense, but it's not that much intense. Anyway, hope you guys learned stuff. I'll be back. Take care and have a good one. Hey, what's up, guys? This is video number 5 in our mastering a track from start to finish. And in this one, after you've done a lot of stuff, you want to prepare your audio for your maximizer, and kind of do some last minute kind of touches, because adding a bunch of compressors will kind of change the dynamics and how you perceive the audio down the line. So yeah, let's add equilibrium, and we'll take a listen and a look. And first I will, before I do that, I will add a high pass filter. Add around, yeah, we'll go, 26, why not? Just another kind of gentler, or more a kind of aggressive roll off, why not? Always good practice. Make sure it's linear phase, but that's a different video. This is for beginners in a way. And what I'll do is I'll go low pass filter. I'll use the critical one. No, actually, I won't use a critical one. I will use the damage audio and have it roll off around there. Just a gentle roll off. You don't get any nasties at the top. Right? And it's, I'll have a bit more. Right, so let's take a look at this analyzer here, and we'll kind of mellow things out a little bit more. Right, there's that guy right there. But I'm gonna make you a bit bigger. Bigger is better, according to the internet. There, now we can see. So I will kind of shave that off. Oops. And I will go setup, and I will go refs. Hold on. Analyzers, sorry. And I will go tilt at 0, good. Curves both. Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Alright, so I kind of want that to be gentled. And there's a bit of a guy here. Cool. Um, when you're doing this, you kind of want to reduce more than you boost. Production is a reduction, as they say. Uh, you want it to be you want to lower things before kind of raising them, and 99 or 90% of the time you're going to be uh, lowering frequencies by a matter, 2 dB here and there, and you know, and uh, another tip is to listen to your tracks at different volumes. Don't always have them loud, have them kind of quiet and louder, and yeah, and you'll be able to hear the difference. And in my experience, and a lot of people's experiences, uh, if it sounds really good quiet, it'll sound pretty good loud. And if it only sounds good loud, then that means that it won't sound good. Because what's happening is the reason why it sounds good loud is because the drivers and the speakers or your headphones are distorting, or your ears are bleeding. That's not good. Yeah. So this is, I guess, with the post EQ and finishing kind of touches before we go into the master stage. So, yeah, hope you guys learn stuff. Take care, and we'll be back. Hey, what's up, guys? This is video number 6. And what we've done in the previous 5 is we've gotten the audio ready to be assaulted by a maximizer or a limiter or some sort of something on the master that brings up the overall level. There's a lot to choose from traditionally, at least in my experience doing this for over 300 years. You'd use the L2. The L2 is used quite a bit. It's still used quite a bit. It has that character that you can just almost hear it on everything. These days, I'm using the Pro L to achieve more loudness. But what I also discovered recently is Limitless, which is by DMG Audio, and this is Pro L is a single band limiter. Limitless is a multi-band limiter up to 6. And Limitless is a bit new, uses essentially complex math that I can't begin to understand, let alone explain. But you could bring the threshold down or up. You bring the threshold up in Pro L, threshold down in here. It's exactly the same thing going on. It boosts the signal coming in. And yeah, essentially, that's what you do. And you can clip before, but we won't get into that. Essentially, want to keep it kind of simple. Just bring the threshold down, play around with it, and you're off to the races. So I'll start with the Pro L. Pro L's traditional, and same thing follows with the L2 by Waves. Same thing. So let's bring it up. All right, so it's peaking at negative 5.6 dB, and we're not going to be using the case system. Right, and what I want to do is bring this up. So this line is the RMS, which is the average, and this up here is the peak. The peak is at the peak of your audio when you export. It won't go over 0, but you want some headroom anyway. But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we'll bring the gain up. It's detecting peaks. So that's why you have negative 1 dB before you get going. Right? I like negative 8 dB RMS on my tracks. It's kind of the middle ground, and it sounds pretty good. We have negative 2.1 dBs of gain reduction, and yeah, we raised the gain 6.9. Remember that number. And there's some advanced tabs that we can get into. Look ahead, which will improve the quality, reduce distortion. Right, and that's a good way to get loudness out of your tracks. It sounds phenomenal. Anyway, so we'll go back, we'll get rid of that, and we're going to be using limitless. Now, there's a bunch of maximizers you can use, or limiters. A maximizer is a fancy word for limiter. And you can read forum posts for days about which is the best one. But as of now, the soup of the day is limitless. For me, it just sounds pretty cool. So where were we? 6.9 dB. So I'll bring that down and we'll go 6.9 dB. So think of the threshold. What you're doing is bring the threshold down, or you're boosting it. It's the same number except it's reversed, but it's the same thing. We'll compare those. Right, so it's multiband, which is fun. And yeah, with multiband, it's a little more complicated because, yeah, there's a bunch of bands you got to work with. And limitless is pretty deep. But in general, at the end of all of our EQing and compression, it's really unexciting. You just kind of bring a threshold knob down, you bring a fader down, or you bring it up, and you make your tracks louder. Essentially, that's what it comes to. All of this fine, finicky work to just basically do this. But you can play around with it. There's like different releases and stuff like that. I want to do a couple video, like a series on the L2 and the L3. Maybe just the regular L multi-maximizer. Who knows? But yeah, different styles here. We'll go transparent. Thing about limitless, which is pretty cool about it, because it can detect, from what I've read, it can detect the transients and the dynamic separately. So it kind of limits those, and it clips those, or doesn't clip them, but it limits those separately. You can see kind of what it's doing here. So it's squishing those top parts, making it sound awesome. For limitless, you want to bring your ceiling down. That should also be another video. Bring that down, and yeah, you get your loudness, which is what you want. And what I should do is give you a listen to what it sounded like before. So yeah, I'm gonna play this, and then yeah, we'll be back. Right, so I hope that helps you to get your tracks sounding good and loud. Obviously, a lot more goes into it than this series, but yeah, and it's different per track, per material. Like it's like EDM music, electronic dance music, or acoustic music, or like an orchestra. It's all different. Um, yeah. Hope you guys learned stuff. Let me know what you think. Take care and rock and roll. Have a good one. Thug life and good day.